Dave here. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to change the front bearing on the front of an ATV. This is my Coleman UT400, but as you can see, the wheel is wobbling and nothing else is moving, so the bearing needs to be changed. And we'll walk you through some quick steps, make a quick video. Now that the wheel is removed, you can see we're going to have to remove the caliper, the hub bolt here. Under here, we're going to have to take out this lower ball joint. We're also going to take out the upper ball joint. And we're going to unhook this tie rod. Now, as you can see, I put the jack stand going to this lower A-frame. And that's not what you want, because I want to break this connection. So what you need to do is put your jack stand under the actual frame of the vehicle. You don't want to support the weight with this. I got the jack stands moved over to the center. You don't want to put them on the A-arms on either side. This will allow them to hang down, hopefully extending the length where you need to hook the shock up. I hooked up the wire from the bumper to around where the base of the shock is. I'm hoping that I won't have to unhook that shock, but if I do, I will. So the next step is I'm going to remove the carter pins from the upper, lower, and the hub. When it comes to the tie rod, if you want to use 2 wrenches, put 1 wrench on the top, 1 wrench on the bottom to remove it. In my case, I'm just going to take that rod out. I'm in the process of realigning it anyway, so this is all finger tight, so you just untwist it and it'll come unhooked. You don't have to mess with this connection here. I got the hub nut off. It does turn counterclockwise to loosen. This is the passenger side. I'm not sure about the driver's side. I ended up using my Ryobi cordless impact wrench with a 1 1/4 inch socket. It's probably a metric size, but this fit well. It did not seem to be on there very tight. In order to remove the brake caliper, use a 13mm socket, and 1 bolt is up here at the top, right in this area where I'm pointing, and then 1 down below it. There's also a zip tie and this bolt here. I got the brake caliper off. I just kind of propped it up over here out of the way for now. Incidentally, this bolt for that bracket was an 8mm, and I just went ahead and pulled the hub off the end. It basically was just getting knocked off. I'm just going to go ahead and take this tie rod out before I even work with the ball joints. So all you have to do is just, from the perspective I'm from, you'd want to turn it clockwise. If you look at it, this is the nut, so you're turning this counterclockwise. So if you're turning the bolt, you just turn it clockwise, and it will come right out. I put the lock nut about where it needs to be, so you can see now that tie rod is unhooked. No reason to mess with that connection. I got the bottom ball joint unhooked. I used one of these ratchet wrenches. This one's a 3/4. It's probably a metric, but it fit fine. It wasn't that hard, but once I took the nut off, I just kind of took the open end wrench part and pried it, and bam, it came right off. I got the upper ball joint loosened up, and to be honest with you, once I took the cotter pin out, I was able to actually unscrew this with my fingers. Once I unscrewed it, I just took a hammer and pounded. The spindle came off. I used my air chisel to remove them, and they are actually bearings. And you can see they are pretty shot. They're missing the balls and everything. Okay, I realize the inner races are still in here from the bearings, and there is a one of these expandable clips, clamps, whatever you want to call them. So you need to use a tool like this All right, I'm not sure what's going on, but I cut this damn, I guess it's called a bearing spacer. I cut it into pieces and I still can't get this inner part out of here. Here's the bearings I ordered. You can see without that spacer in there, they're just gonna wobble around. And if you compare it to here, it would fit in that spacer. But when I went to the Coleman Power Sports website, they don't even show the spacer that goes inside of the steering knuckle available. So I found a brand new one on eBay for about $100. I have it. I'm getting ready to put it in. So I have to take this tie rod end off of the old steering knuckle, and I have to take the plate off of this old one, and I have to take the lower ball joint off. The lower ball joint has a snap ring holding it in. On the tie rod, it's a 9/16 wrench up here and a 3/4 inch wrench down here once you take that Carter pin out. And then for the plate, you have the 3 Phillips head screws, which I absolutely hate, but I had them soaking overnight with the penetrating oil, so they should be good to go. Here's the new steering knuckle. I just kind of wanted to make sure the bearings would fit over this shaft. I'm in the middle of doing a lot of different projects, so you can see my workbench is quite the clusterfuck. But I heard that a messy work area is a sign of genius, so I'm sticking with that. I had to get a hammer. I'll break it loose. I got it loose. Probably that will take a twist. Well, set up aside. Well, if you notice these snap ring clips, when you squeeze them, they expand. That's what you need to get this lower ball joint clip off of there. Okay, after putting the penetrating oil on it, I just kind of set it in let the jaws of the device hold it, and just been whacking it with a hammer. It is going down, so it comes out that way. I almost got it. All right, so I set the new steering knuckle in the vise. Here's the ball joint. I greased it up. I find a socket that I should be able to pound on, and I gotta just drive it into that hole. Looks like it's seated pretty good. All right, I got the ring clamp in. It was kind of looking like it didn't want to seat all the way, so I put it back in the vise after putting that clamp on there and whacked it a few more times, and it looks like it's seated in there pretty well. Okay, so I greased up down here. I greased up around the where the seal is going to hit here. I greased this upper ball joint. I greased the end of the tie rod. The shaft here, and get it into where that ball joint goes. Just take your hammer. Gotta change the angle. Get your nut on there. 3/4 inch wrench. Make sure you're tightening. Now I'm going to put the tie rod end in. You can see I got the lock nut set. Gives me almost an inch. I'm not sure if I want to come out any further, so I'm just gonna kind of tighten it up to that point. This whole fiasco started because I was just trying to do an alignment on this thing, and I realized the front bearing was bad. All right, so you want to take your 9/16 wrench and hold the top, like so. Take your 3/4 inch, tighten it down. Now that the tie rod's in place, I can tighten up the ball joints better. The next step you want to do is reinstall that backing plate. So that open area here, the open area is where the caliper would go. So you want to just put it in here, line the holes up. Now it's time to install the hub. Make sure to clean around the outer edge here and grease it up. That's the part that goes into the seal. Turn it, push it on. Okay, do it like that. Take your 1/4 inch 1 1/4 inch socket like you did before and tighten it down. That feels good. I had a video fail, so basically you have to put the caliper back on. It goes back on the same way you took it off. In my case, I put new brake pads on it. And since you have the wheel off, you might as well grease all these moving fittings with the lithium grease in a spray can. And this one up here, use a grease gun, grease that up. I'm still waiting on the cotter pins to come in. They're due in tomorrow. So as far as I'm concerned, this job is complete. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. I'm making a video on how to change the brake pads because now I have to do the other side.